Hey, welcome back to Leah's Leaves. Tonight you're going to plant carrots with me in a 3-gallon bucket. Wanted to give you an update on the hot peppers so far. They're going to be up potted this week. Today they received their first shot of a low-dose fish emulsion and kelp mixture. So they get a little shot of nutrients. These right here are my Peter pepper. They're doing great. They have their third set of true leaves. I'm going to let them continue growing another week or so before I cut the top pair of leaves off and pinch them off so that it encourages a bushing habit for all the peppers. I'm going to give them a little more time to grow. Tomorrow they're getting up potted. If you don't know about the Peter Pepper Challenge, I'll leave a link in the description. This is Garden State Gardeners Peter Pepper Contest, hashtag GSG Peter Pepper Contest, and the goal is to grow the longest Peter pepper, which is a specific variety of pepper, and I'll tell you more about that in the other video. Here's some of my herbs: basil, cilantro, thyme. The chamomile's doing great, that's back there. These are cilantro microgreens. So these I'll be eating sooner. This is cilantro. These two. Anyway, that's coming along. And some radish microgreens that I'll be harvesting in the next couple days. Today we're going to plant some carrots. I have 3 varieties. We're going to do Long Rouge Sang. I grew these last year and really liked them. Shin Carota. I received these seeds in a seed swap by Crystal Castillo. They're only 5 inches long. And the free packet of Uzbek golden carrots that I got in an order of Baker Creek seeds this year. So that's what we're planting today. None of them are very long. And so here's my little garden gnome Aggie here to help me. And what that means is I don't need to put loose soil in the entire bucket because I only need like about 6 inches of soil for these carrots to grow. So I filled the bottom third with spent soil. These are soil and plants that were in seed trays from last year, and I just kept them because they're organic matter. They'll break down in the bottom of the bucket and they'll help the soil retain moisture. And you can always use your spent soil just by amending it. On top of that, I'm going to add the soil mixture that I'm using to plant these carrots: a third perlite, a third coir, and a third compost. I'll be mixing that up and moistening it. I also brought this little bad boy. I'm growing my carrots. I'm going to start them indoors under grow lights just to give them a head start for spring planting and to have a later crop. Like 3 weeks from now probably, I'll plant another bucket of carrots while these ones are still growing. And those, by then, it'll be the ideal temperatures to grow those outside. Carrots like it between 50 and 75 degrees, so not too cold, not too hot. When I'm growing them outside, though, and I add one of these little cardboard containers. This is from a frozen pizza. It's just the cardboard that holds the frozen pizza. And whenever I plant these outside, and I've got the soil up and then the seeds planted, I'll put this on top while the seeds are germinating the first few days to keep the birds from coming in and eating the eating the seeds out of the bucket before they've had time to germinate. Carrots and it also helps to retain moisture. Carrots are finicky in that they have to remain moist. There needs to be a constant application of moisture at that surface level of the soil while they're in the germination process, and a carrot can take anywhere from 10 days to 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, excuse me, to germinate. They're slow in germinating. So another advantage to that little pizza top is to retain moisture while the seed is just even breaking. Once the seed breaks the surface and the seedling begins, then you take that off so that they can get light. Carrots need light and moisture. You also don't want to add too much nitrogen. So today I'm just putting in this, 3-part seed starting mixture to get them going. But once I start fertilizing them, I'll be paying attention to only use items, fertilizing items that are rich in potassium and phosphorus. Because if you add too much nitrogen, they're not going to develop the root, they're just going to develop the leaves. Carrot leaves are edible, by the way, and they make a great substitute for like parsley as a garnish or cooking ingredient. You can also mix it with basil. If you're conserving basil or you don't have much basil, you can use carrot tops and mix in with your basil for pesto. I've done that before a couple times and it turned out great. So anyway, let's get started. I've got my spent soil in the bottom third of the bucket. I'm going to mix and moisten this bucket of soil, and then we'll plant some seeds. Okay, so our bucket and soil are prepared. The soil is moist. It's not sopping wet, but it holds its shape as you saw in the photograph. Now, the Uzbek carrots, they're going to grow fat. So I'm going to space those about 2 full inches apart. The rest of them, I'm only going to space about 1 inch apart. So put the Uzbek ones here on this third, and then the Shin Carota in the middle, and the Long Rouge Sang on the other. And I'm not going to use the dibbler or anything. I'm just going to use my finger and start marking holes. We'll put in Uzbek carrot there. One there, one there, one there, one there, one there, one there. Okay, not too many. And then down the middle, a little closer. The beautiful thing about doing it in containers, for starters, you can give them a head start indoors, like I'm doing now. You can avoid exposing your young seedlings to things like lantern flies and carrot flies and other pests. Right now inside I have no pests. I have no flea beetles or aphids or any pests in under my grow lights or in any of my soil mixes. So this is a pest-free way to do it. And also the buckets mean that you can grow to whatever length you want and be guaranteed to have loose soil that doesn't have any major obstacles in it, like twigs and rocks that would cause your carrots to split as they're developing. So when the taproot of this plant goes down and it hits an obstacle, it will split to go around the obstacle. And that's how you end up with wonky looking carrots. Likewise, if you have too much fertilizer that's rich in nitrogen and just too rich in general, it will cause from the main root, other side roots to grow off the carrot. So if you want those nice, long, slender, tender carrots that are beautifully shaped and not too fat and not too woody and not wrapped around obstacles in your soil, then you need to keep your soil clear of stones, rocks, hard patches of clay, things that it would be difficult for them to navigate. In a bucket, you can control that. So here are the Uzbek carrot seeds. Look how tiny they are. They're very small. You can really just soil surface sow these, if I get my words right, and then just press them into the soil, because you want all of your seeds, not just carrot seeds, all seeds, to have good soil contact as they begin to germinate. For me, I just pressed a light little indentation to mark where I want to put them. And I'm going to plant 2 seeds per cell. And then as they begin to germinate and grow in a couple of weeks, I will take scissors and just trim the smaller of the 2 starts out of each spot and keep 1. I won't pull it out from the root, because what if the roots are growing together? If I tug on one, I might dislodge the other. So just cutting the leaves at the soil surface will kill that second plant without uprooting the first one. Okay, so I've sprinkled 2 seeds into each of these little spots, and I'm not going to press them deep. I'm just gonna go like that. The last thing I'll do is just cover this with a layer of a light sprinkling of vermiculite. That'll help to retain moisture but still not be so dense that it prevents the light from getting through. Okay, so those carrots are just barely under the surface there. I want to say a word about these long Rouge sang carrots. I saw these on the Baker Creek website, rareseeds.com, last season, and so I bought some and grew them. They are very interesting flavor. They're not like a traditional sweet supermarket carrot, just a standard orange carrot. They almost have a floral tone to the taste, and I really liked it. At first I bit into it and I was like, that's a little bit bitter, but it just, once I started eating more of it, I got used to the flavor and really liked it. And it's just a beautiful carrot, as you can see. And this picture, that's exactly what they look like. They're yellow orangish on the bottom, they're orange red in the middle, and then they're reddish purple at the top. So they're a beautiful plant. And they just have a slightly different flavor than a traditional sweet carrot. So this year I'll grow a variety of carrots, a variety of colors, and that will give me a variety of flavors as well. Isn't that interesting that carrots are not something I ever thought of would, different varieties would taste different, but they really do. Later in the season, another 3 weeks from now, I'll plant another bucket just like this so that I have a continuous harvest. And that time, I won't put as much soil in the bottom because I want a little more length. Next time, I'm going to be growing some black nebula carrots, red samurai carrots, and a rainbow mix that includes some longer white and yellow varieties. So I want those tap roots to be able to grow longer in the bucket without interference and obstacles to have to work their way around. Anyway, growing carrots in buckets is very simple. The key here at this point, now that they're newly sown in moist but not sopping wet soil mixture that's loose and fluffy, has that perlite in it, that'll keep it loose and fluffy, is to keep the soil surface moist. Because carrot seeds will die if they dry out. If you've had trouble growing carrots in the past, there's a good chance that it was because the surface, the top half to 3/4 inch of the surface of the soil where you have those seeds laying near the surface probably dried out. They just get aired out. Especially if you're growing them outdoors. Like right now I'm growing them inside. They'll be under grow lights for the first 3 weeks of their life before it's warm enough for me to take them outside and get full sun. But when they're outside, they're in the wind, that air circulates, and that soil surface can dry out quickly. So if you're sowing them in a bucket and you intend to do the outdoors, make sure you have a cover of some sort for that first 3 or 4 weeks while they're germinating. Once, like I said, once they germinate and they break the soil surface and the little baby seedling starts to pop up, then you can remove that cover. Some people will recommend keeping a cover over your carrots while they're babies by, say, use a brick or a stone and put a plank over it so that the plank is like a couple inches above the carrot. And what that does is it'll prevent the pests from getting to your baby carrots while they're starting, and it'll keep them out of the direct hot sun long enough for them not to get sunburned until they're better established. And then once they're a couple inches tall, you can remove the barrier completely and just let them grow in full sun. Carrots like light. So ultimately, once your seedlings are going, you want to remove all the barriers and put them in a good sunny spot. Anyway, I hope you've learned something here. I hope you'll try growing carrots in a bucket. It's a very easy way to do it. It's a space-saving way. It's a way to control the growing environment. It's a way to keep them relatively pest-free. And yeah, buckets are easy to come by. So it's also a cheap way to grow them that doesn't require a lot of real estate. I'm learning a lot, sharing it here, and I hope you'll come grow with me. Bye.